Okay, like when it comes to like today's hot phenomenon of Chinese students study overseas trade, we have already asked some students like about their opinions and their personal choices and maybe perspective in this kind of trade. And now we want to see these things in another perspective. And now today we have invited an English teacher from New Oriental English Training School and to see what is his opinion on this trade and what is her personal perspectives. Okay, now welcome Hansen, like welcome to our show or something. What have you think about it?
There's definitely a very quick rise in popularity, especially with studying abroad in America. So I think as Chinese people are getting richer and richer, as they're making more money, I think a lot of parents just have this idea that education in America is definitely better than education in China, because I guess kids, they have to study really hard, do a lot of homework, they have to memorize a lot of facts, and maybe they don't have so much time to play or have a lot of other hobbies besides studying. So I think I've definitely seen an increase in parents starting English education for their children at a younger age, maybe from 3 years old or 4 years old.
Oh, that's like this really young.
Really young.
Are they like dependent by themselves, like able to support themselves, like live abroad?
Probably not, because I think some of these kids, they're kids, right? So they don't really know what they want. They don't have an opinion, but I guess some parents, they really care about the future and the education for their children. So
like you really think like it is like the parents like who really wants their students to study abroad rather than themselves?
Absolutely, because I do think a lot of parents, especially a lot of Chinese parents, they do want their kids to be successful, and they do hope for the best for their children, and they do think that starting at a younger age, maybe sending their kids to an American middle school or high school rather than waiting until college is a better idea, so that they can have time to maybe adjust to the culture and also to just be able to adapt to a new environment and make friends and hopefully succeed in America as well.
I actually have told like that, like with the rapid economic development in China, which is also motivation for those parents like wanting to support their children study abroad. So what do you think like the relationship between the economic development and like this kind of overseas study trade?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a direct relationship. I think people, when they do have a lot of, because education costs a lot of money, especially English education, and also just the money to send them abroad and to pay for their living expenses and being able to get the best. And also I think a lot of the parents here, they do want to send their kids to a boarding school in America, and some of those boarding schools are very expensive too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like local American students
can even not afford
that. They cannot even afford it. So so a lot of the Chinese kids will go to those really expensive rich boarding schools. So there's definitely a direct relationship between the economic development and also the study abroad trend.
Yeah, also, and like, what do you think of this trend? Like, do you like from your personal perspective, like, do you think like this young children, very young children, should they go abroad, or like, what is your opinion on that?
I do think that there's pros and cons to the educational system of every country. So I think it really depends on what the child wants, because I think the whole idea is that if they go study in America, it's a freer environment. The kids have more time to play, the kids have more time to discover what they want, their dreams, they have more time to socialize, enjoy their childhood. But at the same time, there are kids in China that maybe they don't
introverts more like
exactly maybe they're not going to really adjust well to that environment, especially if they're really young. Their parents are here, their friends are here, everything that they know is in China. So if you just have them suddenly leave and go to a completely new country by themselves, it might be hard. So I do think it's really up to the child if this kind of adjustment is really healthy for the child or not.
Yeah, so you mean like those parents should like ask their children's own opinion on this like decision, and like to know like their child's personalities and to make the choices, right?
Exactly, I think it really, the communication between the parents and the child is very important. I don't think it's good for any parent to just plan a child's life for the child. So it should be a decision made by the parents and the child.
And also, like when like like when students want to study abroad, they should take some English language tests. And nowadays, like there are some like phenomena that some students, some Chinese students are cheating in those kind of language tests. And what do you think about that? Like,
Yeah, so I have heard of stories where, miraculously, a bunch of Chinese students get perfect scores on the
Yeah.
TOEFL or the SAT.
Yeah.
So, I think people do speculate that there might have been some cheating involved. And if that is the case, I don't agree with it. I definitely don't think cheating is the best route. Because if you want the best education, you might as well do it the right way, do it the honest way. And if you have to cheat in order to get a best score, that means you're probably not that qualified to really go study in a country that requires you to have good English abilities.
Requirement is very necessary, especially like for if you want to go abroad. You also need to like read a lot of materials. If you cannot read that, you just have high scores. That's not making any sense, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I mean, I think also in America, it's not that the teacher doesn't expect the students to just listen and memorize. The students really have to participate. They have to talk in class. They have to really digest the material and also to contribute. So if they're only good test takers, but they're not really good contributors, then it will be hard for them to adjust to that kind of environment.
Okay, that's like maybe about that. Thank you so much, and thanks for your like personal perspective on this overseas study case.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.